live radio, local podcasts, the Frederick Podcast Network at listenfrederick.com.
The Fedora Files.
Hello and welcome to the Fedora Files. I am Gregory Fedora. I am so glad you're here. It's been a bit. I've been busy doing a lot of things. I'm producing a couple other podcasts that you can go check out. One of which is Counter to Intelligence, which is on YouTube as well as Spotify, and also Plague of the Day, which is on YouTube. So feel free to check those out. They're a lot of fun, different topics. Counter to Intelligence goes into more conspiracies. And my friend Tom is in on that. And I go by another name on that show just to mix things up, as well as Plague of the Day, which is myself, my friend Nate, and Chris. And we deal with topics that just bug us, and we kind of rant and bitch about them. So it's a lot of fun. So check that out. This episode of the Fedora Files is brought to you by the Fedora Files Happy Little Monsters, Volume 1, but actually Volumes 1 through 4. And I want to talk about a creature that probably doesn't get much play. It's the Capelobo, which is from Brazil. And if you get Volume 1 of Happy Little Monsters, there's a little bit about them. It's an interesting creature. The Capelobo is a mythical creature from Brazilian mythology. Its legend is very common, especially in the states of Maranhão, Amazonas, and Pará. It is believed to have arisen among the indigenous people of the northern region of Brazil. So this creature is a fusion of indigenous mythology. It's a mix of a humanoid, anteater, tapir, and dog. It's a very interesting creature. The name Capelobo is a fusion of indigenous Brazilian word capa, meaning broken bone, and the Portuguese word lobo, meaning wolf. So it's Portuguese and indigenous vocabulary blended together for this creature. Now, to learn a bit about it, the thing takes two forms. It has like an animalistic form and a humanoid form. When it's in its animal form, it walks on four legs. It kind of looks like a tapir, T-A-P-I-R, which is kind of along the lines of anteaters, and a dog. In its humanoid form, it walks on two legs, arms out, long tail, has the body of a human, the face of and head of a giant anteater, bottle-shaped legs, lots of hair, and it runs through the forests. It's known, this is where it gets kind of interesting. It's known for hunting newborn puppies and kittens, but it will kill humans by squeezing them and drinking their blood and eating their brains if given the opportunity. So they have a blend of like kind of a vampiric type of ability, but also a little zombie in there since it's going after the brains. Now, the only way, and this is where I love this. This is part of the mythology I find it humorous. The only way to defeat this creature is to shoot it in its navel. So you gotta be a crack shot. You gotta get it right in its belly button, like doop, and get it, and it'll die. What this thing does when it wants to hunt humans, it does this loud cry that sounds like a child in help that needs help. So people in the Amazon will hear this and they're like, oh my gosh, there's a poor lost child. We got to go save this kid. Save this kid. And they run into, and then the Capelobo comes out, grabs them, and bites and uses its tongue to suck the blood out and then go into the ear canal, into the brain, and suck that brain right out. So it's not It's not very friendly. Now, it's weird. Some people say that if you're scratched by this creature and you survive, that in due time you will become a Capelobo. So it's not like how like in vampires you immediately you may or may not. So it's like one of those like, oh no, I've been scratched by the Capelobo. I may become one or I may not. No one knows for sure. They can't really tell why or who uh it becomes this way. Um, it's also similar to like Sasquatch in that it has a foul stench, uh, and it's so bad that when you smell it, it's worse than like skunk ape, Sasquatch, or or regular old skunk. That it'll cause you to have headaches and be dizzy. And some people say that that's so bad that this will cause you to feel this way for over a month if you inhale its stench. Um, so don't be going trying to sniff the Capelobo. Don't assume that it would make a good eau de toilette, which is perfume for you uneducated kind. It's not like the smell of a toilet. Um, it, it it does, however, normally stay away from humans, but every now and then there's one of those Cap Lobos who are like, you know what? I have the taste for human blood, and I want more. So, you know, adventurer beware. If you are in the Amazon, you hear a child screaming, you smell something that doesn't smell too good, don't go after it. It is probably the Capelobo. It's probably going to try and kill you. Now, is this a real thing? I I I have my doubts. Is it a cool story? Is it a story that was probably made by the indigenous people to keep their kids from wandering too far into the Amazon? Probably. I mean, there's a lot of bad things in the Amazon, but like if you tell them about a giant anteater that is going to suck your brains out, that would keep some kids from going deep into the darkness. Um, was something ever there? Now, see, the interesting thing I find about the Capelobo is when you kind of look at it, there was a creature called the giant sloth, and it was throughout South America, up into Central America, up into some even parts of North America. This thing existed a long time ago. People did interact with it, indigenous people. There's cave paintings of it. So did the giant sloth attribute to the stories of the Capelobo? Possibly. Uh, no one, we don't have any recorded history of a giant sloth and how they were. Were they slothful like the current sloths, or were they a more predatory creature? Were they, a bigger deal? Um, who knows? I do think that, like I've always said, that a lot of these mythological and mythical and cryptid creatures, some I think are legit and do exist. Some I think are part of the mind of humanity, that over time we've seen something and we've attributed something, and it goes on and on. So something or someone encountered something, and that's where the story came from. So the Capelobo, is it still around today? I don't know. I haven't heard any recent attacks by a Capelobo. But that doesn't mean that deep in the Amazon there isn't some weird ass creature stalking around there, stinking the place up, screaming like a baby. I know some people I live like near that almost fit that description, minus the sucking the brains out and blood, but everything else nailed it. So there you have it, the Capelobo. That is the one we're looking at today. And I hope you've enjoyed hearing about this. This is an interesting creature. I don't want the story of the Capelobo to go away because I think it's a cool one. And if you ever go to Brazil, maybe when you go into the Amazon, you can find it. Or not. Maybe you don't want to find it. But, as you go out and about with your life, remember to stay safe and keep searching.
The Fedora Files.
Check out fedoracrt.com today.